toss-up. The Byzantine Emperor Constans II tried to move his capital to this island, which was
Sicily.
15.
That's
For 10 points each, name these teams that eliminated English Premier League teams during their last Champions League campaigns. In this year's Champions League quarter-finals, Tottenham Hotspur was embarrassed 5-0 on aggregate by this team, co-captained by Sergio Ramos.
This is the other Madrid does. Is it? Isn't it a Spanish team? I thought it was. Okay. Inter Milan.
I'll have to hurry you along.
Inter Milan.
Real Madrid. Leeds United made it all the way to the semi-finals in the 2000-2001 Champions League, but lost 3-0 on aggregates, this eventual runner-up.
That was Bayern Munich in 2000-2001, I think. No, it wasn't. That was earlier. We'll try Schalke. Schalke?
No, we found their weak spot, Valencia. Liverpool last made the Champions League in the 2009-10 season when it failed to get out of a group won by this Italian team, whose chairman at the time was Andrea Delle Valle.
AC Milan. AC Milan.
No, Fiorentina, no points on that set, and another toss-up. Andre Graytree used it as the basis of his comic opera Zemire and Azor. Prince Arden is the second title character of Jean Cocteau's version, in which he punishes a merchant for stealing a rose and is served by dozens of disembodied hands. For 10 points, name this French fairy tale about Belle's unselfish love, whose Disney adaptation features...
Sleeping Beauty.
No,
sorry.
His Disney adaptation, -5, features the songs Gaston and Be Our Guest.
Beauty and the Beast?
Is correct. Newton's second law asserts that the time derivative of this quantity equals the net force. For 10 points each, name this quantity equal when mass is constant to the product of mass and velocity.
Linear momentum.
Correct. In relativity, the fourth component of the momentum 4 vector is this quantity divided by c.
Energy.
Correct. In quantum mechanics, the representation of the momentum operator in position space is this constant times h bar times the gradient. Sorry, it's this constant times h. Let me read it again. In quantum mechanics, the representation of the momentum operator in position space is this constant times h bar times the gradient.
There's minus the imaginary unit.
Correct, minus I, and then take the imaginary unit all variations thereof. So that was 30 on that set, and we have another toss-up number 12. This figure is the title storyteller to Dan and Una in a 1906 Rudyard Kipling work. Correct, very good. This bank started an organisation known as Village Phone, which provided rural women with cell phones for 10 points each, named as Bangladesh-based bank, founded by Mohammed Yunus, which is known for making small loans to the rural poor.
It's called something back. It's not Green Development Bank or something. I don't know.
Hurry along.
Green Development Bank.
The Grameen Bank. The idea for the Grameen Bank was partly inspired by this Indian economist who wrote Poverty and Famine.
Amartya Sen.
Correct. This is the name given to the small amounts of capital the Grameen Bank makes available to the impoverished without requiring collateral.
Could be. I'll go with that. Seed funding.
I should listen to him. Microloans, microcredit or microlending. So 10 points on that set. Thing. Yes, it was. Another toss-up. In one film by this director, Dolly Nessiter won't shut up in a train station refreshment room, upsetting Laura and Alec. In another of his films, Colonel Saito is helped by Colonel
David Lingham.
15. For 10 points each, give the following about bacteria in the digestive system. Bacteria are needed to synthesise this vitamin, a quinone derivative needed for blood clotting.
Vitamin K. Vitamin K.
Correct. Bacteria are also necessary for the proper development of these projections of epithelial cells that form the brush border.
Microvilli.
Correct, 10 points. Researchers have also found gender differences in bacteria. Those in men have more pathways for synthesising this amino acid that combines with phenylalanine to form the sweetener NutraSweet.
That's aspartate.
Yes, or aspartic acid is correct. So that's 30 from that set, and we have toss-up 14. This country's communist politician Khalid Bakdash, unlike socialist Akrim al-Harani, did not ally with Michel Aflaq. Rifat, the brother of its ex-president.
Lebanon.
No, -5, and we're still in the power zone. Perpetrated a massacre in Hama. This country, led by the Ba'ath Party, invaded... Syria's correct, and just 10 points. It was Woodhausen. 10 points each. Answer the following about the career of Archie Panjabi. Panjabi played the sister of Jess Bumrah, who falls in love with the Hounslow Harriers coach portrayed by Jonathan Rhys-Myers in this 2002 film about a British Indian football player.
That is like Beckham.
Correct. 10 points. Panjabi won an Emmy in 2010 for playing Kalinda Sharma, an in-house private investigator at Stern, Lockhart and Gardner on this current legal drama.
The Good Wife.
Correct. 10 points. Panjabi played the wife of Omar Jalili's character in this 2010 British film about a Pakistani Muslim who discovers he was born a Jew.
The Convert.
No, the infidel. So 20 points on that set, and toss-up 15. The Belle Fourche River rises in this US state and is a tributary of the namesake river of this state's capital. Its portion of the Medicine Bow Mountains is dubbed the Snowies, while the Absaroka Range and Bridger Mountains bound a deep basin into which flows the Wind River. The North Platte River rises in for 10 points. What state, site of Devil's Tower, Grand Teton and Yellowstone National
Wyoming.
is correct, 10 points. For 10 points each, answer the following about Booker Prize winners. This South African writer was the first to win 2 Bookers for 1983's Life and Times of Michael Kay and 1999's Disgrace.
Could say.
Correct, Jane Kurtzay. Michael Ondaatje shared the 1992 Booker for this novel about a man who was badly burnt in a plane crash and his Canadian nurse. It was made into a Best Picture winning film.
The English Patient.
Correct, 10 points. 2 academics investigate the relationship between Victorian poets Randolph Henry Ash and Christabel Lamont in this author's novel, Possession.
Aspire. Buy it.
Correct, 10 points, 30 is set. Another toss-up. Toss-up 16. Important discoveries using one of these include finding wick-neutral currents at Gargamel, and Picasso has used one with Freon as the active mass to study WIMPs. Particles in these travel in helical paths determined by their velocity and charge to mass ratios. 10.
Mass spectrometers.
No, -5. For 10 points, name these vessels filled with superheated transparent fluid in which charged particles leave ionisation tracks made of bubbles.
Cloud chains.
No, bubble chambers. Well, yeah, you know it. So, move on to sub 17. This man offered a theory of practical ensembles in his first volume of his Critique of Dialectical Reason, whose...
Immanuel Kant.
No, -5. Was still in the power zone, whose unfinished second volume was published as The Intelligibility of History. In a work that offers a phenomenological ontology, he contrasted being in itself and being for itself. For 10 points, name this French philosopher who wrote Being and Nothingness and was an existentialist. He is correct, 10 points. He overthrew Sumanguru, who had killed his 11 brothers, for 10 points each. Name this first ruler of a certain empire who gained power after the Battle of Kyrene.
Ashoka?
No, it's Sundiata. Okay. Sundiata was the first ruler of this West African empire, which shares its name with a modern-day country containing Timbuktu.
Yes, Mali.
Correct. Starting in 1307, the Mali Empire was led by this man, who founded Sankore University and devalued gold by handing it out on his pilgrimage to Mecca.
Mansa Musa?
Yeah, that's right.
Mansa Musa?
Fantastic, 10 points. Right. Toss-up. This man's last composition concerns the spirit of the forests near his house. The 7th and final symphony by this composer of Tapiola is only one movement. The penultimate section of a work by this composer is a solemn hymn, begun by the woodwinds and echoed by the violins. That section provides the tune for the Christian hymn, Be Still My Soul.
Sibelius.
Is correct, 10 points. Troops of this battle were led personally by Napoleon III, Victor Emmanuel II and Franz Joseph I, the last time in history that 3 monarchs all commanded their own troops, for 10 points each. Name this 1859 victory for Franklin Piedmonte's forces fought south of Lake Garda.
I think this is Magenta.
No,
I think it's
Magenta.
Solferino. This international agency was founded after a Swiss businessman depicted the carnage of Solferino in his memoir of the battle.
The Red Cross.
Correct.